A little bit about her horse. So what we're going to do first of all is she's going to warm him up, just do what she would usually do with him. He's come in, he's been a bit excited when he first came in, so we're just going to see how he settles down. Doesn't look too excited now, does he?
So because he's still, well, he has had quite a bit of experience on the saddle, but not with me, so I have just been generally just warming, and because he's got some body issues, so I generally warm up first a little bit just on doing some circles at walk and trot, sometimes a little bit of canter as well, just to kind of warm his body up before I get on. And I find it's good practice because it gives me an idea as to how his mindset is, and whether he's kind of feeling okay, or whether he's stressed about something. Yeah, so a little bit of warm up first for his physical, as well as for me to assess his mental. Oh.
So if we were to assess his emotional level now, what is he doing out of 100?
Good boy.
60, yeah, I agree. Did you hear when I walked in and you put the microphone on her? What did you hear? He snorted, yeah. So any vocalisation is an indication that your horse is increased his emotional level. And it's interesting because this is a pattern that he's learned. He knows his pattern. I walk around there, or I trot around there. So I confuse that by walking in there.
Yeah, so I normally do kind of just a little bit of walk first, both directions. Then ask him to pick up a trot. Trot on. Good boy. Well done. So the first trot I don't normally ask for a lot. Just a few steps is all I'm asking for, because part of what I'm looking for here is self-control as well. Can he bring himself back down to a walk as well as taking off and going quicker? Good lad. So here he's probably tending to trot away from the edge of the arena there. So I'll wait till round here and ask him to pick up a trot. See if he can come back down to a walk. So I'm lowering my energy there a little bit as well, to say to him, can he come back down? Can he go up? Can he come down? Good boy. So now I'll ask him, anywhere on the circle? Can he keep a full circle for me? So he's a little bit turned out there. He's still not really focusing fully on me. So I just add a small sound. To bring his ear back to me. Whoa. Good boy. Oh, you're doing it. You're doing very well.
You know, for a lot of us, that cue to stop, you know, might be quite different from that. But she's obviously taught this horse. So it really doesn't matter what your signal is, as long as you're clear, thinking towards that signal. This is what that means when you release that pressure when the horse stops.
So here he's got a bit up too high. He's going before I've actually asked him to. Slow down. Slow down. Steady. Good boy. Well done. Good lad.
The transitions are a great idea because they really help you get the horse inside that bubble of communication. It's often tempting when he came out when you first talked to him, he was quite emotional. And so it is really tempting to sort of work that out of it. And you see a lot when you go to shows and you're like, you're saying it's not ending. Around and around and around, and I hope there's always going to be 2 times in this behaviour in the class. The problem is that it becomes a really bad experience for the horse. Because, you know, they're running anything to exhaustion in the hope that they won't respond.
Good boy.
It's dangerous, isn't it? And it's not a great thing, you know, for the horse to have to do.
Good lad.
Focus on her and think about what she's asking you to do. You can move up and down, and you can see already that his head's coming down, he's starting to relax a lot more, and he's much more in that bubble of communication.
Good lad.
You see he's even starting to
Well
use
done.
the top line. When we first came out, he was looking out, he was bent to the outside, he was looking to the outside.
Now, you ready? Good boy.
Things going on, and he wasn't really in her bubble at all.
No, 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 just trot. Just trot. Steady. Good man. Well done. And walk. Good lad. Yep. Oh. Oh. Good boy. You're doing very well, mate.
Okay, so the reason I talk about it being a bubble of communication is that a bubble is something that's really fragile. When you see the horse go into a frame where it's nice and is soft and relaxed, you can almost picture that bubble encompassing you and the horse. As soon as he sticks his head up and pricks his ears and looks out there, the bubble bursts. So we lose his focus. And so what we're always looking for, that nice, soft, relaxed, having the horse inside the bubble of communication. Yep. So he's a bit stiff on this side. He has a problem with his hindquarters, an old injury. So what we're doing is we're just trying to engage his brain. And the more things Debbie can ask him to do, the more likely he is to stay in the bubble. And you can increase his emotional level by making things more difficult. You can make them faster, or you can make it more mentally challenging. So when we're long reining him, we'll see we can make it more emotional, make him more emotional by asking him to go rounder, or by asking him to be softer, and doing transitions. Transitions are a really good way of actually increasing the horse's emotional level and making a really strong bubble of communication. So then what happens is you build up this bubble of communication where the horse feels confident and safe inside that. The horse knows what the correct response is. You ask this, or you put your leg here, I respond like this, and every time that happens, it's the same answer. So the horse gets really confident about what happens in the communication there. And you can take that bubble out to different places. So you start building it somewhere really safe, like the round pen. It's easier to ride in the round pen than it is in the arena. It's easier to ride in the arena than it is in the paddock. It's easier to ride in the paddock than it is on the trail. So these things become more difficult. So start in the easy place. And the reason the round pen's easy is because the choices are limited. So whenever we can limit the horse's possible responses, it makes it easier for the horse. So always start with something that's going to be easier for the horse. And once you've got that bubble, and your horse doesn't keep breaking the bubble by moving its attention elsewhere, then take that out.
Did you want me to hop on?
Yeah, sure. If you're happy to hop on. How are we going to... How tall is he? Okay, so that's really nice, and she's given us a really good example of how you might prepare your horse when you get to the show. So it's a good alternative to racing it around and tiring it out on the lunge. So what she's done is she's just said, right, I want you to focus on me. Let's get you responding to me, to my cues. And the first thing we're going to teach this afternoon is give to the bit, and that's where I start teaching the bubble. So teaching the horse how to respond to really simple cues. And I like it because it's useful for the rest of the horse's working life. And we really do need to teach this horse hips to the fence.
This would have been useful.
Jeff, do you want me to leg you up?
I don't know if I've got enough bounce here.
Right, you don't have more.
Yeah, maybe some there. Just come in here and touch him off, sorry.
Did anyone bring a mounting block today? Yeah?
With the wooden on it. I meant to, but I brought 2 grandkids with me, so it was like mounting block went out.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to have a little look. We're going to make a note of the horse's sort of frame and posture and his emotional level, and then I'm going to teach some give to the bit and the long reining, and we'll put Deb back on and we'll see if we can have made a change with that. So basically, when we teach give to the bit and shoulder control, which will be the lessons we're doing today, what we want the horse to learn is to hold its head just in front of the vertical. So we don't want it behind the vertical, we want it just in front of the vertical. And what that does is it enables the horse to lift its back. So when the horse is traveling like this, its back's hollow in the same way ours would be. As soon as we actually just get it to drop its head and relax, which is the main thing, it enables the horse to use its top line. And when we take horses off the track, both breeds, the standardbreds and the thoroughbreds, they're used to traveling with a very high head and pulling themselves forward with their shoulders. So that's the way they've been taught to travel. And we get on and we say, oh, now I want you to elevate your shoulders and get your hindquarters underneath you. And they go, my hindquarters? Where are my hindquarters? But they can't actually get their hindquarters underneath them before we teach them to use their back properly. So that's what give to the bit is about. It's about teaching them that softness in the bridle. And we release on relaxation and that frame, just having the horse nice and soft and round. And we can picture the bubble. That's quite a challenge for a lot of horses, having the birds flying in and out.
That's one good thing about having them at home. We've got a massive flock at the home.
So this afternoon then, we'll be teaching give to the bit, which is your basic frame, travelling frame, and then we'll start on the shoulder control, which is basically what we're going to teach the horse. Here it's travelling to the right. So if Deb opens that right rein, I want the right front to be a bit like a puppet and stay under the right hand. If you open the rein, the right foot goes that way. So if she's just doing a circle round here, if you imagine a clock under his chest, he's stepping with his right front to about 12:30, yeah, 1 o'clock, yeah. If you have 12 o'clock straight in front and he's going around here, he's probably stepping to about 12:30. If we make that circle smaller around us when we work on the ground, he's probably going to be stepping to 1:30 or 2 o'clock. And so with that, we can turn the horse right from the right rein, and obviously we do that both sides starting on the ground, left from the left rein. And we want to be able to get pretty much 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Okay, so if he's going straight, he's walking to 12 o'clock. We want to be able to move his left foot to 10. With that left rein, we want to be able to move his right foot to 2 with the right rein. Once we've got that, we're going to do some reverse arc. So let's say he's bent to the left now. What we're doing is I never want to ride. The give to the bit, we talk to his nose basically, but I'm not really interested in his nose. His nose is a bit like a handbag, you know, the head and the neck of the handbag of the horse, I always say. I'm only interested really in the feet. And I want the feet, I want to control where the feet go, and I want to bring those feet closer together. So bring his hind end closer to his front end. Yeah? So once he understands that the pressure goes away when I come into frame, that will become over time an automatic behavior. You get on, you pick up the rein, oh, I go into frame, now off we go. So this afternoon we'll also start to teach reverse arc. So if he's bent to the left, his head remains at that angle bent. I want to be able to pick up this left rein without changing his head and move his left foot to the right. Okay. So what that'll give me is, good girl, independent shoulder control. What it means is I can move his shoulders left or right without changing the bend in his neck. So anyone ever had a horse that falls in terribly on a circle? Yeah, makes the circle smaller and smaller and smaller. What we want to do is not have to bend the horse to the outside and make him go outside. We want to be able to just say, oh, just lift your shoulder up, mate, and step this way a little bit without changing anything else at all. What it also does for us is it gives you, oh, watch your feet. It gives you a whole lot of stuff to do with your horse. So those of you that are just starting to ride a horse that you've just got off the track or something, these horses have never done that before. You know, they've not done it. So it's all new. So it means you can get on, and rather than thinking, oh, I'll do 27 laps of the arena, you can get on and do little turns and move the shoulders. So you've got a way to communicate. And every time you do that, every time you pick up a rein, you do your spot, direction, motivator, reward, you're reinforcing all of that training and giving your horse confidence about what's coming next. So every time you ask for a little bit of reverse arc, and that's beautiful, then you're releasing and rewarding, and the horse is getting used to these patterns. It's a really different approach to exhausting the horse, because I always say, what is more dangerous than an unfit, uneducated horse? Yeah, a fit, uneducated horse, isn't it? Yeah, and that's all that happens when you do lunging or whatever it is you're doing, going round and round. That's beautiful. Thank you. Do you want to jump off?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we're all good. Next time we'll do your saddle up, yeah? No. Or is that tight enough for him? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Good girl. All right. That was beautiful. Thank you. He's lovely. Yeah. So, yeah, it means that you can engage his brain. And I was talking yesterday about, wet saddlecloth days. It's a really common thing. You hear that all the time. Again, I think you're just making your horse fit. I don't think practice makes perfect. I think perfect practice makes perfect. I'd much rather, thank you.
It's nice how he's just really come down and fully relaxed here now.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Deb. And so, actually engaging his brain gets you a lot further, a lot faster. You have a 5-minute ride. That's great. A 5-minute ride, and is exhausted here and is fine everywhere else. And so that's good. We can give him a few minutes off, and then we can do something else with him. Okay. So the give to the bit that you'll be working on this morning, basically what we're going to do, a spot is the nose. I'll get you to move around here a little bit. There. Good lad. The spot is the nose. The direction is going to be down and in towards his chest a little bit. The motivator is going to be rein pressure. And the reward is going to be a scratch. Okay? So I want to try and keep, I shouldn't have chosen such a tall horse. I want to try and keep the rein at the same angle it's going to be when I'm riding. Okay? So that means, I definitely chose the wrong horse. I'm going to try and keep it up here. I also want to try and keep it back at further, on the back half of the neck, let's say. Because this afternoon we're also going to do shoulder control, and then I can move the rein a bit further up his neck. But we'll talk about this one first. So the first thing is, I'm just going to put pressure on, and it's going to be a constant pressure. I'm not going to give and take or anything. I'm just going to put pressure on and ask him to give to that pressure right there. Yeah? He made a move, might have been to, might have been to bite the rein. I don't really care. As long as I got some movement out of him, so I've got to just engage him again and ask him to think about what I'm asking him to do. Good boy. So I don't want him to go into a perfect frame. The first time I ask this, I just want him to respond and get him to understand that the pressure will go away. Good boy.
And why do you not class the release of pressure there as a reward? Why?
Oh, because the release of pressure is part of the negative reinforcement pressure release, yeah? Yeah, the pressure and the release. That's my use of negative reinforcement. The scratch is the positive reinforcement. And the scratch is one of the things that has been shown to lower their heart rate is a scratch on the wither. We don't know a lot about horses. It's a very young science, equitation science, but we do know that. It lowers their heart rate, and so that's why I keep it to if we slap them on the neck like show jumpers, that does the opposite. Good boy, good boy. And so my voice is also positive reinforcement. I don't want him to actually walk anywhere yet. So you guys, when you start, you're just going to be asking for a bit of a give and not moving anywhere. I've got my whip because I don't want him to go backwards. Once we get that, then we can start asking for a bit of movement and the give at the same time. Good boy, good boy. Debbie's been doing a lot of very good reverse arc work with him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but you see how he's really keen to go that way. So if I put the rein on his neck, whew. Keeping him straight. So he overbends laterally.
Yeah, what he was doing was bending his head, so you kind of felt as if you had the lateral line, but then he was just walking.
Yeah, okay. Okay, all right. So when I'm here, we talked earlier about just focusing on one foot. I only want to move one foot. So the spot here is his left front. The direction is forward, and I'm wanting to about 11 o'clock. He's giving me, oh, that's good. He's giving me 12 o'clock a bit because he wants to move away from me, which might just be because I'm new or because I'm carrying a big whip. But that's all right. I'm going to just release on that 11 o'clock. Boy. You can see I'm at his shoulder. So our feet are sort of together. I'm walking forward. I've got my hand across my chest. Good boy. And that's important because our position tells the horse quite a lot. So this afternoon we're also going to do reverse arc, which when I want him to move his left foot to the right, and I'm going to move up. And there my position is much further forward, and I'm facing the horse. Good boy, good boy. Open the rein, come back to the shoulder, and ask him to walk around me. And we're going to reverse arc again. I come forward, put the rein on the neck. Can you see that he's moving his shoulders quite a lot, but not his hindquarters as much? Yeah? And so he's really starting to understand that I'm only talking to this one foot. I don't care where his other feet go, but what you'll find when you start this afternoon is that the whole horse goes right. And that he moves their hindquarters a lot, like he's doing there. But once they stop moving their hindquarters so much, once they stop moving their hindquarters so much, you know you've isolated this foot. So you're winning now. You know this is right. He's starting to understand that's the foot I'm talking to. And once we can get them to do a pivot on the hindquarters, so the hindquarters stand still and just the shoulders move around the hindquarters, then we can start talking to the hindquarters separately. So what happens quite often is people just think, oh, well, I'll just teach the horse lateral work, or teach the horse to move sideways. But they can't control the back and the front end independently, and you really need to be able to do that. Okay, good. All right, I think we'll teach him hips to the fence so that Deb can get on later. Would you bring the camera around here? Should we bring everybody? I'm going to do it between P and B. Do you want to bring chairs with you? Yeah. Or stand? If you've got... Oh, you reckon? Oh. Yeah, so in halfway between P and B? Thanks. Okay, so I'm just going to walk him up and down here because this is the scary area of the arena that we noticed before. He was a bit nervous about this end of the arena. This lesson is basically to make mounting safer for you and the horse. So what happens quite often, good boy, good boy. What happens quite often is we get up on the mounting block, we ask the horse to come to the mounting block, and then he swings his hips out and we end up, you know, scrambling on or falling off or going on the ground. And so what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to get on the mounting block like Deb did earlier. She got on the fence, and then I want to be able to go, bring your hips to me. Not bring your hips away, bring your hips to me. Yeah? So he doesn't know it, we've established that. I want this to be the cue because I don't always carry a whip. So I'm going to start with the whip to make it easier for the horse. So if we go through spot, direction, motivator, reward, the spot is going to be his left hind. Now this foot here is the one I'm watching, okay? His left hind, the direction is going to be to the left. I'm going to motivate him to start with by using this pressure cue. The whip is going to tap him on the hip, but I'm going to reduce the need for this. So watch how I use this as we go along. I might need quite a bit of it for the first few times, and then I'm going to need less, and then he's going to respond when I lift it, and then I'm not going to have to lift it. I might just hold it and point, and I'll start clicking my fingers. So I'm going to get that cue, that pressure cue, lower and lower and lower, and that's what we're always aiming for. And the reward is I'm going to let him rest and give him a scratch, okay? All right, and I'll talk to you a little bit about the pattern in a minute. So, cool. I completely forgot what I was about to say. Oh, yeah. How many directions can he move his left hind? How many directions can he move his left hind? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 equal fall over. Okay, so 6. We want 1, right? We only want left. So I'm going to make it easier for him by eliminating some of his possibilities. I'm going to do that with 2 things. He's got some give to the bit, so that's great. So I'm going to hold this quite close to his bridle, and that's going to make it difficult for him to go backwards or forwards. So that's 2 eliminated. He might kick at me. That would be up. I don't think so, but you know, that's a possibility. But I'm going to make it very difficult for him to go right by putting him against the fence. Okay? So that's what I call, you know, good cheating. Because whatever makes it easier for the horse means that he's going to learn it quickly, more quickly, hopefully, by giving him less choices. So you're going to line him up along here. I know. Good boy. Good boy, good boy. And we go forward. I don't want him going backwards. I'm also moving his head in the opposite direction. Good boy. Look, he's a genius. Good boy. Okay. We go forward. We'll ask again. Good boy. Oh, what a clever horse. And we'll go forward. Okay, so how many pressure cues am I using? 2, yeah, what are they? Yeah, I've got a third one. Sorry? Body language, yeah, and another one. I've got another one. Yeah, so I'm moving his head that way. If I move his head that way, his hindquarters should come this way. Good boy, good boy. Watch what happens to his hindquarters when I walk him that way. They go closer to the fence, don't they? So we have to be careful. Good boy. That doesn't become the pattern. Yeah? I don't want him moving his hindquarters back away from the fence. So just that time I went around the other side of him. So if I take him off to the right after I finish. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. All right. And this, I want to make this the great place. This is the place where he gets to rest. And I'm going to come around this side. And there his hindquarters move a bit closer to the fence when we finish. And that, for us might not mean much, but for him, that might be where his pattern finishes. We don't know. I don't want to teach him to be a sort of yo-yo towards the fence, to come to the fence and then leave the fence. Good boy. And that was a better response. He responded quite fast than I thought. So he's starting to connect this cue with moving this foot to the left. So that's terrific. I'm going to come this side. Good boy. And lead him off to the right. Usually I would go behind him to lead him off to the right, but he's a little bit too interested in what's going on out there. I'm not convinced he'll stand still, and I don't want to lose him. So let's see how much he connects the whip to the hip. See if we can get him to move his hindquarter and his shoulder. Good lad. Good. All right. Good boy. Look at you. What a good boy. All right. That's a nice exercise to do when you're teaching this. The good thing about side pass there is we know we can move his shoulder already. So it shows you how connected his hindquarter is. It's also a really forward movement. And if they feel a bit boxed in, they might want to go backwards. So actually just checking how connected this cue is. Wakey, over here. I know. You're right. And this is really interesting. So a really nice sort of learning curve there. Learning never develops in a linear fashion, right? Good boy. Oh, good boy. Good boy. And this is the bit of the horse that I'm after. This bit here. I'm going to try and teach him to bring his rump to me so that I can pat it. Good boy. Well done, you, eh? And that time I felt able to go round to the back. See right there, it's left my bubble. Good boy. Oh, good boy. Good boy, look at you, what a clever horse. What a clever horse, eh? What a good boy. Now, given my legs are so short, I teach this to every horse I ride. So when I start them under saddle, they know to come to the mounting block, to stand still, and then to step off to the right. Good boy, good boy, good boy. So I come around here And I grab the right rein and I say, hey, give to the bit. Good boy, come back in the bubble and let's go off to the right. And if you're starting a horse, or if you've got a horse that, you know, is just learning this stuff, or a horse that's been off for a while, the last thing you want to do is get on and have the reins loose and just trundle off in no frame, because you've got no control of the horse, it's not in the bubble, and it's way too much to ask. So what you want to do is get them in the habit of turning right away from the mounting block. I know. Forward, forward, forward. Good boy. Oh, good boy. All right, yeah, right there. Right there, good boy. And then right. Good. Okay. Okay, let's move you back up here. I know. So that's lovely. He's anticipating already, like he's going, I'm not moving my hips all the way to the fence because you're just going to ask me to move them back. And horses are great pattern learners, and we love it when they anticipate. And boy, we just need to make sure that we're setting up really good patterns for them to learn so that they produce the right behaviours, or the behaviours we want anyway. Good, all right. So this time I'm going to ask him to go just a little bit faster. So I'm going to increase the motivation a little bit and see if I can get him to move a bit quicker to the fence for me. Good boy, good boy, good boy, look at you, look at you. Good. Good boy. There we go, good boy. Good, okay. All right, we might leave him there. That's a good length of time, and that's a good place to stop. So we try and get in that first session is that he'll relax when he gets here, and that he's really connecting this cue with that hind quarter. And what would be ideal, Deb, over the next 2 days, we'll just start, next we introduce the mounting block here, and I start standing first on the bottom step of the mounting block because it's a bit different for him, and then on the top step of the mounting block and asking, and we need to get this going as well so that he's coming to a click of the fingers. Stay with me, mate. Stay with me, mate. Good. Good boy. Yeah, you're doing all right. You're doing all right. Okay, should we might just do a little bit of long reining with him, because that's what's on for tomorrow. So we'll just run quickly through what that's going to look like. See, he leaves the bubble beautifully, doesn't he? He's just like, I'm out of here. Bubbles bursting all over the place, my little friend. Has that mirror new?
Yeah, all the mirrors are new, aren't they?
Oh, I didn't see any others. Wow.
They've got a lot of lady dressage riders up here now that are just...
You like to look at themselves?
Ladies are actually doing stuff as a lady version.
Very good. They're very nice. What do you think? Yeah, it's a good looking horse over there. Another one up there. Oh my God. Great, should we shut it off for a minute? I prefer long reining over lunging any day, because lunging really comes back to the wearing the horse out often. The horse is more often than, can I give you that? Thanks. More often than not, the horse is not in frame. So we don't really want to get the horse to practice anything we don't want the horse to repeat. So travelling around with his head in the air is not a great plan. And then you will hear people say, well, I lunge with side reins. And the side reins are a problem because you can't adjust them. Oh, thanks. I'll take it like that for the time being. Yeah, thanks. You can't adjust them. So you know, if you're using side reins, you should have the inside one shorter than the outside one. And then, yeah, okay, your horse is travelling in frame. But you can't then change direction without stopping the horse and readjusting the side reins. Plus, because you can't feel it, you don't know whether the horse is actually being light in the bridle or whether it's leaning like a lunatic on the rein. So this is the closest I've found to riding. The reason I teach it with the saddle is that so many horses have learned to lunge. And one of the things they can do really easily lunging is turn and face you. If you've got a lunging surcingle on or roller, and the reins are coming up here and then to you, and they turn and face you, you pretty quickly end up in a bit of a wreck. So I like doing it, teaching it at least in the saddle. Once you get more advanced and the horse understands not to turn and face you, then by all means, you know, go to the surcingle and advance like that. So a disadvantage then is that the pressure's coming from quite low down, yeah, which I don't like. You know, we've gone to a lot of trouble this morning teaching giving to the bit with our hand up here so that the pressure is most like it's going to be when we're actually riding. So that's a downside. Another upside to doing it in the saddle is that the saddle's already on the horse. And I don't know about you, but for me, if I get my horse out and I saddle it up and I long rein it and I look at it and go, oh, it's lovely, I'll jump on. But if I look at it and say, oh, no, I need to take it back to the stable and change the saddle and do all of that, then I probably won't. I'll probably say, I'll ride it tomorrow. So it's easier to get on and ride, which I always think is a very good deal. And it does, because we're going to have long reins, it makes our release quite difficult. You saw earlier when I picked up pressure on the bridle and the horse gave, hello, sorry, what's his name? Thunder. I could release immediately. Yeah, I'm right here, I can release. So once you put a long rein on, well, it's quite hard. And the horse never gets what I'd call a full release. So there's those things. The other thing is we can't do reverse arc. So we can't get the horse to do this on the long reins because we can't move the reins. So those are the three major drawbacks for long reining. I still love it. And I do tend 5 minutes, do 5 minutes work, ground work, just give to the bit and shoulder control after your long rein, just to remind the horse. Yeah? If you don't do that, they will tend to desensitize again to this bit pressure, which we don't want them to do. There's something worth bearing in mind. There's tons of advantages, but that is a bit of a disadvantage. So what you're looking at here, I mean, it's a great thing. If your horse has been off over COVID, or you've been off over COVID, and you're bringing the horse back into work, this is brilliant, because this is riding the horse from the ground. I want everything to be the same. I want the horse to be in the same frame. I want everything to be the same when I'm on the horse. So if you're starting a horse for the first time, if you've just got a horse off the track, this is where you can stand safely in the middle and say, does my horse understand to travel in frame, to elevate its shoulders, to stop, do transitions up and down? Does it understand all of this stuff while remaining in frame? Yes? Good. Ride that. You don't want to find out that the horse doesn't know those things once you're on board, yeah? So most of your standard breds will be fairly accustomed to this, but I had a horse here once, didn't I? That I used as a demo for long reining, and it was really, really scared about the ropes around its hind legs, and then we discovered that it had a nasty accident in the gig. So every horse has a history, so don't skip this bit. Oh my goodness.
A lot of standard breeds broken into harness, they're actually just driven. They're not actually long reins the way we
Ah, okay.
driven from behind.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So it's new to them, even though most standardbreds would have been used to some form of long rein. It's not this sort.
It's not like, yeah, okay.
And it's constant pressure on them as well at that
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah, right.
They're long reins in them.
Okay, yeah. So it's a very different deal. So, but first of all, just habituating your horse to the rope. You know, some of them can be scared of this, so you want to go through all this. I know Deb's done this work with her horse, but tomorrow we'll go through and make sure each of your horses have. The next thing I do, terribly itchy, is I hang on to the clip, and then I'm just going to chuck this over his back like that. And I want to make sure that he's happy to feel that. Because what happens if he goes too fast and I've got a rope behind him is he's going to feel a bit of pressure around the back of his hocks there. And I don't want that to scare him, make him go faster. I want him just to understand that that's absolutely fine. Thunder, oh, you're a good horse. Look at you be a good horse. Good boy, eh? So Deb, you've done driving but not long reining? Has he had this feeling before?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Good. Good. Oh, good boy.
When I first started with him, throwing the rope kind of over
Yeah.
to go to his head or to throw the rope over to start off.
Yep.
He was worried about that.
Okay.
Having fun, but yeah,
Good. Good boy. Good boy. Oh. Good. Good. All right. Okay. So we'll go through your horses individually tomorrow just to make sure they're okay with that. Deb, do you want to come out and just hold him while I put the lines on? Great, thanks. I'm really superstitious about this. You've got to put the red one on the right. Or the lighter colour. Have two different colours though. If you're going to buy long reins, have two different colours because it's much easier to see which is which when you're holding them all. Otherwise you just get a big bunch of black ropes in your hand. So have different colours. The lightest colour on the right. I lived for far too long in Asia. Good. Good boy. Thank you. Yeah, I think we're good. All right.
So I've got a little pony that I'm about to teach into harness.
Yep.
Would this be the best way to start her?
This would be the best ever way to start her. Yeah. Be perfect. Good. So what I want him to know first is that when he turns away from me. I'm going to look at his tail when he turns because that keeps me behind him. It's very easy for us to get in front of the horse when they turn. So if I'm going to stay behind him, and if I get too far forward, he's going to turn and face me. So I really want him, I want to stay sort of behind his drive line, so his girth. A bit confused about those coloured snakes on the ground. I always leave them on the ground, and I try and just keep them on the left-hand side of me. And you know, it's schools of thought. I've not had a problem with it, but I have, when I've had them in my hand, got my hand caught in them, so I don't much like that. But I was making a film for someone a few years ago, and this horse on the lines, and I was saying, you know, I just leave him on the ground, blah, blah, blah. I was giving the same speech and concentrating on what I was saying rather than the horse. And I got the damn thing wrapped around my foot and fell over. So, can happen. You're a good horse. You're a good horse.
Where he has his head drop, is that below the vertical you're talking about?
The vertical tool is talking about the nasal plane. So is it in front or behind? So it's not about his head elevation. His head elevation, boy, I'm not too concerned about on the long reins because I can't actually lift his head on the long rein. So if he decides to go really relaxed and put his head really low, I'm just going to say, oh, thank you for that relaxation, that's great. Let's just practice softness. And then when I'm riding, I can actually pick those reins up. Yeah. Yeah, I can push him forward. Again, my focus on the lines is relaxation and responsiveness to the bridle, so softness. If he comes behind the vertical, that's something that's much easier to fix under saddle because I can lift the rein. So under saddle, I can move my hands forward up the neck, lift the reins, and it's using the lips and not the bars of the mouth. Here, I'm very much on the bars of the mouth. So, yeah, it's not... Yeah, it's a great tool, but it does have limitations. But if you're, if you've been off work for a while or you're, having trouble anywhere in transitions or if your horse is bucking or something, it's a nice, safe place to be. And educationally, it's just hundreds of % better than lunging. No. Okay. We try. And walk. Good boy, good boy. And trot. Oh, you're very nice. You're a good boy. So I can bend him just a little bit to the inside. So we're going to try and keep a little bit of inside bend on him. Look at that. Oh, good boy. Which is his good side, which is his bad side? Which side is he stiffer on? Deb?
Sorry?
Which side is he stiffer on?
That side.
This one?
Tends to stick his head out to the left as he's going
The left, okay, the other side, okay. Trot.
As he warms up, he will improve.
Okay. What's his counter cue?
Sorry?
Counter cue?
Are you ready? And a canter.
Okay.
And little my energy a bit.
Trot. Trot. Good boy. Trot. Good boy. Walk. Good. So what I really like about him is how consistent he is in his posture, even through the transitions while I'm teaching him the new Kandoo cue, which is a kiss. Just because, I like the kiss cue because it's so different from trot or move or anything else. When I first went to Colorado to study with Josh Lyons, I had never heard anybody kiss at a horse before in my life. And I get there and the first day is like a demonstration. He's in the round pen with this horse and he kisses for movement. So saw this cowboy, this big cowboy hat on him, like this, had this horse. I'm like, oh my God, this is too much. So I decided, well, I can use clucking for trot and walk, and I'll keep kiss for canter so I don't have to use it so much. But I quite like that because it's a really different cue, especially for us. And as soon as he trots, I shut up, yeah? And I'll let him make that mistake because we're lacking self-carriage. So, boy, good boy. Good boy. Oh. Yeah, so it's a matter of, yeah, and we realise this as we move along. We want the horse to do something else, but say, oh gosh, maybe I've taught him to do that. Yeah, it happens all the time, right? So what we need to do now with him is great to do the transitions, but make sure you're asking for them and that he's not just doing them himself, because then we get on and they, you know, go from canter to trot without being asked, and we get all upset with them for doing it, you know, and we don't realise, oh, actually, I've just taught that on the long line. So, trot. Have a quick canter, you're nearly finished. And canter. And trot. Oh, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. And walk. Good boy. Oh. Oh. Good boy. Oh, who's the best horse in the arena? Who's the best horse? Thunder! Have I got his rein somewhere? So when you stop, it's a really good idea to just to drop everything and take it all off as soon as you can. Just because if he gets a fright at something, then we don't want the reins chasing him up the arena to complicate things. Thank you. Beautiful. All right, any questions about that we might need Thunder to answer? No. It's all straightforward, yeah, no problem. We'll all be doing that by tomorrow afternoon.
It was simple, right? Okay?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, don't you hate that? Okay, so that's the tail under the rope under the tail thing. Oh my God, it's a nightmare. It's overcome mostly by using the saddle. Yeah, because even if you're, yeah, you might need to lengthen them a little bit if you are using a saddle already. If it comes from here, it's really hard to get that caught under the tail. If it's coming from here, it's really easy. And once it gets jammed under the tail, it gets ugly fast, doesn't it? Yeah.
And you're right, because I tend to use the roller.
Yeah. Yeah, even the ones, yeah, even if you use the lowest ones, it's still beautifully aligned with the tail. Yeah, it's another reason to use this. So otherwise, once the horse doesn't turn and face you anymore, then go back to your roller, but up to the top ones. Yeah.
Because she gets really quite technical about it.
Oh, it's nasty. Yeah, and she's a, you know, I was going to say she's a chestnut mare, but you shouldn't say that. Mares hate that tail thing more than geldings, I swear. Yeah, I wouldn't like it. It's not nice. Great. All right, good. I think we're done. Thank you.